All right, tonight the hands have decided that there's lots and lots of tomatoes in the garden, and in spite of the fact that we still have quarts of tomatoes in the basement, we're going to can a few. And this is how we're going to do it. Start out by taking the core, cutting the core and any bad spots out of your tomatoes and saving it for your compost heap. Some of the little blemishes on the skin are okay because they're all going to eventually slip off. Because what you do, get them all in a bowl like that. Here we have a big one cooking here. And when we bring some water to boiling, we're going to put it over the top of the tomatoes. Let them sit just for a little bit, actually just until you can see the skin start to slip off. At which time, see if you look at that, see they look like they're peeling for sure. At which time you can run them under a little cold water. We don't want to be burning your hands. Actually, if you get them out of there and dump them in the sink, they'll cool off quite nicely. And you can finish cutting out the blemishes and pulling off the skins. And these are those heirloom variety beefsteaks, and I don't know how they're going to can up, but they sure are beautiful tomatoes. You've heard me say that time and time again. And next year I'm going to try a few more kinds because I'd like to do some drying. Drying saves space. We might get into that later on. In the meantime, before you start any canning, get your stuff together. Get your jars, get your lids, get your rims, get your water boiling, get your canner going. It takes a long time for that much water to start boiling. Get your tomatoes all ready, and then we'll move on. Alrighty then, let's take a little tour of what we have to can. We have our tomatoes that have been peeled right here in the kettle. Now I have no way of judging how many jars this is going to fill, so I just do the tomatoes that are ripe. You want them to be not too ripe, but not underripe. If anything, they should be a little more underripe than overripe because the chance of spoilage is less. So you dunked them in hot water, slipped off the skins, took the cores out, and also any bad parts. And I kind of quartered them up. I've found over the years that I can can less jars of tomatoes if I make them in smaller chunks. Okay, we're going to need some lemon juice and some measuring spoons. We got that right there. We also have the canner boiling away on the stove. Got to have that boiling all the time, as well as an extra pot of hot water. Over here, we have the lids and rims soaking in hot water, basically to keep them hot so when you put them in the hot water bath, nothing bad happens. Remember the science experiment, hot Pyrex, cold water, crack, crack, crack. Used to crack marbles like that. Here are a couple of tomatoes that I couldn't bear to cut up because we're going to slice them for supper tonight. Over here in the sink we have our washed jars. And after we wash them in hot soapy water, rinse them out, check all the rims for cracks. You want to run your bare finger around the top there, just like you were making a humming noise on a wine glass. And if there's any chips or cracks or gunk on there, you've got to get that cleaned off or you will not get a good seal. Also make sure there's no leftover gunk from last year's canning. If you always cleaned your jars right after you empty them, tuck them in the basement upside down or in a box. They stay fairly clean and it's not such a big deal. And so that completes the circle. We're back right here again to the tomato. We're going to get rid of that. All right. This canner fits 7 jars. We're going to turn it on high. And now we're going to fill the tomatoes into the jars. Using quart jars, so you need a teaspoon of lemon juice. Use the squeeze out of the bottle kind because the acidic value will remain the same no matter what. And my mother put sugar in hers. I put salt in mine. Teaspoon lemon juice, half a teaspoon salt. I'm just going to guess. Just like that. We're going to use a spoon We're going to fill up the jars until there's about right up to the rim, 1/2 inch of what they call head space. Because when this boils, you don't want it boiling over the top. We'll press them in there a little bit. Perfect. Paper towel, wipe that rim off because that's where you want that seal to come very, very tightly. Okay, hot lid, hot rim. Hot lid, hot rim on the top. Snug that baby down. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, into the water bath, which is not quite boiling yet, but this way the jars will stay hot while you fill the rest of the jars. Fill the canner. Make sure the jars are covered completely and process in a water bath for 35 to 40 minutes. And then we'll remove them.